Welcome to the Washdown podcast, episode number 69. And tonight our guest is Battalion Chief John McKie. John has been in the fire service for 19 years, and he is here today to talk to us a little about leadership and self-improvement. We had a great time shooting this episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. So click that like and subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications if you're watching on YouTube, all that good stuff. So here is episode number 69 of the Washdown podcast with Battalion Chief John McKie.
Just cut.
Yeah.
We'll end it there.
No, you're in this for the long haul.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was like. I don't know. I've seen some of them videos. They're 2 hours. I'm like, there ain't no way. I can't talk for no 2 hours.
Yeah,
I think we would have went 4 hours last night
Really?
if we hadn't cut it off. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was rolling, and it was rolling pretty good. And it was conversations that I was legitimately uncomfortable.
Really?
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, I was really trying to choose my words carefully.
Yeah.
Because it was just, and Moran was not choosing his words carefully.
No, he wasn't.
Who was it with?
Oh, it was with Anna Odorizio.
Yeah.
Did you
put
feel
a
like
Z in there?
How do you pronounce her last name?
It's Odorizio.
Okay, that's close enough.
No.
Help me out, Joey. Come on.
dude.
Joey wasn't here.
I don't know who it is, and Italians have complicated last names, so
Ends in a vowel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of vowels, a couple consonants, and
maybe a slight accent to it.
yeah.
But I know her better than you too, so.
Yeah. I don't know. That's how I thought her name was said, so I'm going to have to go back and redo the whole thing that I shot last night.
Yep.
Just do a voiceover.
Yeah.
They'll never notice.
Yeah. Won't know at all.
Yeah.
But you're not going to mess up John's name, right?
Yeah.
I think I can say McKie.
Okay. We'll test it out again later just to make sure. He's got one. Could be beginner's luck, though.
Yeah.
Is there another variation of that I'm not aware of?
I don't know. You mess things up all the time.
It's generally my fault, yes.
Understandable.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, John.
Do you guys get in the rig and just wear these now? You're like, hey, this is just more fun like this. We're used to this.
I'd rather wear these. Actually hear people.
Yeah. If we still had them, I'd wear them.
Yeah.
I liked it whenever we had them.
Yeah, it was actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
But you couldn't hear road at all.
You're going to need to move closer to the mic.
I'll just keep moving it closer to my face.
Yeah, the only problem that I ever had with the headphones thing was we routed it so that you could hear the radio through it.
Oh,
Like-
so loud?
Well, no, it started transmitting on our other radio, so our whole conversation was being transmitted all across the city, and it was not a great conversation.
Nice.
It happens.
Yeah. Dispatch was trying desperately to get a hold of us. You need to stop right now.
Nice.
So, but yeah, the new rigs don't even have
No.
don't have
Because
it
they
in
got the
there.
quiet cab.
Dude, I
Now,
don't
maybe
care.
the new ones we're getting might. I don't know yet.
I wouldn't think they'd go back to it.
With,
I don't
with
know.
an FPA, it might be a standard anymore. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets updated every so often, and
Well,
What system do you guys have? Like the headset system that you guys had before? We have the fire comms.
I think that's what.
And then,
Pretty sure
so
that's what it
for
was.
us, the driver and the captain, the officer, will have the headset with the red button, and the red button will transmit when you press it, press and hold, and then the whites are in the back, and
Yeah.
they will, like you can just turn it on, but it doesn't transmit to the radio at all.
Yeah.
So
our old system, it was just the captain who could transmit on the rig radio.
gotcha.
So whoever wired it
wired it
You
incorrect.
wired it incorrectly, and all of the headsets were transmitting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ours were wireless as well. So I think that's probably that's.
We got them Bluetooth headphones.
Hey, they're nice. I mean, when I'm driving, I would rather have that on. If I'm pumping, it's pretty nice because I still hear all radio traffic, and then if I need to transmit, I can. It's with the push of a button versus where's my radio kind of situation. So, I mean, if I'm pumping, I'm staying right next to the truck anyways. So,
that's a strong selling point. I mean, in reality,
yeah.
Plus, think about it. I mean, how many times have you been standing at the pump and you can't hear the radio in your pocket?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
ours has a speaker right there.
Right.
Yeah.
And they all work on every rig.
And honestly,
they're all loud on every rig.
Well, and you have I think it's a 150 yard or 200 yard radius where if we're doing a forward lay, there's been times where I keep my headset on and I'm sitting at the hydrant talking to my driver, hey, you're ready. Just let me know when you want me to turn on the hydrant, or I just sit there for 3 hours. Happens.
Yeah, I've been on that fire with you. Show up, we do all the work. Joey's still sitting at the hydrant.
Just periodically, like every 30 minutes. Just hey, do you guys need water yet?
Oh, well, John, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. You being important and all.
I guess so.
So, you are a battalion chief in the fire service.
Yep.
How did you end up becoming a firefighter?
A few different things. So, my brother is a police officer as well. So, they where I was working downtown at the time, we worked with some off-duty guys, and they were trying to get me on. They're like, come on, just come be a police officer. I was like, I don't want to be a police officer. Absolutely not. Because my brother just kind of changed in a way, as police officers maybe do or maybe don't, but they get that authority and take it. And I was like, that's not me. I can't do that. And so I was like, I'm going to be a fireman. And then I also had a buddy that I went to high school with that helped me get on at the time, too. So I was kind of waiting in their list, but I was like, if I don't get on this list, then maybe I'll go be a police officer. I'm in that age where I'm like, need a career, want to do something. And so I was like, well, all right. And then I end up getting the call and then getting offered a job. So that's where it started. But yeah, before that, I mean, like my dad worked for the post office and my mother worked at the VA hospital. So I was kind of, maybe that was the way we're all supposed to meant to be. Helpful in a way, I guess. Yeah.
Service oriented.
Yeah, for sure. And so I knew that that was probably the route I was taking, just which way. Like I said, I knew nothing. I mean, obviously I love my brother, I love police officers, just not the mentality that I have that I thought that would have suited me best, whereas fire as well did.
Yeah. So how long have you been?
So I've been on for going on 19 years now. Yeah, it seems crazy. As you guys know, we went from the young guys to now we're the old guys. And still in my head, I'm like, there's no way that's possible. Like we're still a lot to learn and want to get better and do this and do that. And we're like here and instructing other people.
Yeah.
So it's something, I mean, it's a great feeling, I guess, but yeah, it's, something that you just, I guess that's how people grow and get better at what they're doing or whatever. But yeah.
Joey's dying over there.
Something just hit me in the throat.
What you eat?
We're good. Sorry. So sorry.
No,
he messed up his flow.
Yeah.
I'm so good.
I am so sorry. I tried to avoid that.
He just leaves the room. Like, damn, it was that bad already? We just got started. All right.
Oh,
So yeah. We're like I said, we're at year 19. Going forward, it moves faster, as we all know. We talk about this quite a bit, that, it seems like every 5 years is maybe a year. So, I got like 4 years on, is the way it feels, which is a great thing. I mean, there's some people that their job 19 years, they would say it's been 50, and so we're lucky in that aspect. And I mean, obviously a lot of things go into that, the people you're around and the crews that, the people you get to meet, the things you get to do, the people you get to help really helps that move along. And so, I mean, I'm grateful for what we do, still excited to keep moving forward and, whatever where it might take me, I don't know, but, so far it's been great.
And you got promoted early.
Yeah. Yeah, so the first test that I could take, I got promoted on. And so I did really well. Me and my neighbor, another fireman, did really well on it. And, we set up a competition. I ended up winning that one. So if he watches this, he'll be like, he's an asshole. Whatever. I won. And that was what it was more about than so much. Yes, we wanted to be promoted and we wanted to, improve ourselves and, our lives or whatever for our families and everyone else. But at the same time, it was just the competition, I think, that really kicked in for us, that got us super motivated. But at the same time, we say the competition, but we're at the table every night reviewing and going over and learning. We've had plenty of those conversations that you guys know, that how much time it actually takes to get there. And that's the great part about it. I mean, I think the process of doing that, you learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about the fire department, things that you've never discussed that you're just, in the back, you never would have thought of, that you had to come up with and be like, all right, this is the scenario. How do you handle this? You're like, I don't know. Why are you asking me? Well, you want to be promoted, don't you? Well, yeah, but and so, which takes you out of your comfort zone, like a lot of things. I mean, I think even coming to this today, after we've talked before, I'm like, nah, I ain't going there. I'm not talking about that. But you continue to grow as a person. You're like, all right, maybe somebody needs to hear what I have to say, or, enjoys listening or whatever. Maybe it's helpful for somebody. And that's, I think, where we're getting in our life, is that hopefully giving back to others is what's most important for us.
Yeah. Well, and I think and I've kind of harped on it for a little while now, but leadership at every level, right?
Yeah.
It's, a young guy on the job, you're probably going to have people under you, but so you need to help them along, lead, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Then as, you become a senior firefighter, a driver, a captain, battalion chief, all that stuff, has to be leadership at all of that stuff. And we're at the point in all of our lives now, at least the way that I feel, is it needs to bridge outside of that. You know what I mean?
Outside of the fire service, or just outside in general?
Yeah, just outside of the fire service, or just outside of just being specifically for fire department stuff. So because we all have life experiences,
yeah,
that we can pass on to those younger people coming up, in the fire service, and go, hey, these are some mistakes that we made coming up. Don't make those same mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience, and then maybe just leave it a little better than we found it.
Absolutely. I think I think even we talked about this, and I've listened, I've talked to my kids. I have a couple boys, and I asked them about leadership, and it's like, you don't have to be a certain age or a certain, and actually I have a 14-year-old, I talk to him all the time about being a leader, on a football field or whatever. It's like, he doesn't have to be in charge. He doesn't have to be the coach to be the leader. People are the same thing on the fire service. We've all seen those one or two guys that we know, guys or girls, that led around the fire station because everybody else follows them, and they do everything right. And you're just like, that's what we're asking to do. So it doesn't matter. And then it seems like the role doesn't make me a better leader. I was either a good leader or I can continue to get better, but we can lead at any level. And it doesn't, that's a personal thing that I think that people have to understand and want to do. Yeah. I think that's maybe what's made me who I am, because I've always kind of wanted to do that. I've always felt like I wanted to do this, volunteer to coach or volunteer to do this or volunteer to do that, because I want to lead and help other people, like you said. And now, and I've seen, obviously we know some of the stuff about the mental stuff and any of that other that we could get into, but we do have those experiences that people need, actually would want to hear. Everybody wants, I don't know if everybody wants, I would want a mentor. I never had anybody that I was like, oh, that's my mentor. He really, my dad's a great dude. I love him. He loves me. He took care of me. But at the same time, he's not like, oh, that he taught me everything. So being able to find somebody, or somebody with the same cores and values that you have, and discuss these things and bounce them off. So when we're talking like, hey, man, I've been struggling with this, it gets easier if you, obviously with other people that you can discuss it with. When you're not alone, I guess, is the biggest deal. Yeah. And that's what being that leader could be. We talk about whatever it could be, we're just simple as when we said it's, the 1 or 2 year firefighter doing your daily job, but it's more important to that. And that's where we're getting now, because we've saw from when we were the young guys to now we're the old guys, what happened. Mm-hmm. And that's where hopefully you guys are doing a great job. Hopefully I'm doing a good job of getting better to understand it's more than the fire service. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what you guys are about and getting at which is huge. People want to hear that. People do want to talk about it. Everybody has their hidden stuff that they don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
I personally do as well, but it's helpful to get it out there and understand there's more to life than the fire service or whatever, but to be a leader all around, not just, at, work, he's a great leader, but outside of work, he sucks. It's like, no, I want to be, good all around. And so there's just, I guess we're just continuing to grow.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, there is no, I can't remember who I was watching. It might have been like Jocko or something. I don't know. But they were talking about that whole growth, and like there is no plateau. Like you're because
that was Jocko. Anna sent that to me.
Yeah. So whenever you're at your job or whatever, and you're trying to go for a promotion or whatever, so you're going up. Well, if you're just coasting, everybody else is still going up. You're just, so the world's still changing. You're not changing with it. So, yeah, and that was a terrible paraphrase. I mean,
yeah, the video was a lot better.
Yeah,
but.
of course.
And I would think there's a ton more to it, because it's never a stature or where you've made it, because everybody's personal growth is completely different.
Yeah.
But what we forget is that some people don't put it out that they need a personal growth, or they need this track that they need to be on. And it doesn't have to be, I want to be here and I want to be at this position. I want to be at this position. That's not my goal. Yeah. I want to be better for other people. I mean, we talked about a split seconds, but I've coached a lot. And I always, when I started coaching, and this is a huge thing that I think has groomed me as a leader, I was about the win. Like, I want to win. When I just now about ended coaches, because my kids are now in high school, so I'm not doing as much. I was like, I don't give a shit about that win. Did you get better? Are you getting better? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? And if not every player on my team got better, I failed.
Yeah.
And that was the completely change for me is now. And I had explained it to some parents, one time they're just like, whoa, we could do this. And I go, I can run the same play over and over to the same player, and we're going to win. That makes me a terrible coach. How good am I then? Like, horrible. And then this kid's over here just sitting, didn't get any better, and we won the game, and everybody's like, oh, you won a champion. I didn't care.
Well, and that's the difference between, especially whenever you're talking about youth sports.
Yeah.
Because at that level, you should be focusing on player development.
Yeah.
Wins and losses, they matter. It's nice to win and all that stuff. But it's like you said, if everybody on the team doesn't get better, then you didn't do your job. And that's kind of the way that I look at it as, being newly promoted. Whenever I finally get to the point where I'm responsible for my own crew.
Yeah.
That's one of my goals, is to make sure everybody improves.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, nobody's good at everything.
No.
They don't just pop out of the box ready to go and know everything there is to know. So.
And could you look back and say, I was a good leader and then nobody got any better?
Yeah. No, you can't.
Yeah, absolutely not. And I used this analogy a couple of times where, we're all just a rec baseball team, coach. And, Johnny is batting ninth and he's batting 100. But can he get to 150, 200? Is that going to improve the team? Absolutely. So that's the same thing when you're promoting. You have these. Not everybody is batting 750, There's some that are on struggle, but they can get better. Yeah. But they have some direction. You have to get them there, and then you're better as a team. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that plenty of times, that everybody brings an aspect to, the service that they want, whatever. But people forget that, and they're like, well, you can't do this, and so you're not good enough? No.
Yeah.
Everybody brings a different quality, and then embrace that.
Yeah.
And realize that, no, you're great at this. Could you be a little better at this? Yeah, but I could be better at this as well.
Yeah.
So as long as we're all fair with that and understand that, some people have a hard time hearing that. I don't. You could be like, you're not very good at this. I'd be like, I might argue for a second and be like, hold on. And then I'm like, man, you're kind of right. This is a lot of stuff I go through with my wife is I'm like, nah, I got this. And she's like, no, you don't. How do you know everything?
Because they're smarter than we are.
Yeah. And I have I don't know if we were started on that. I talked about her a little bit because she's been a huge advocate for me to just continue to get better. And she understands the struggles that I've had in the past and where I came from, and she continues to understand those. And sometimes I'm the harshest on her when it might be something at work or something else, and she understands how to, realize that, I guess, and she knows the underlying stuff. And so I've grown a lot more mentally, psychologically, I guess would be, because how much education that she has in that area. And so that's super helpful, but sometimes at the same time, a detriment, and you're irritated with it. And you're just like, stop, just leave it. You just want to be like, we're done. And that never works. And so, but when you get real with other people and try to tell them that, and then people have others, they're like, yeah, I have met some people like that. They're really good. And then you try to push that away. You're just like, no, I'm good, and then we've talked plenty about the mental stuff that we all have it, some of us are afraid to talk about it. I still personally have some that I'm not good, which is fine, but getting them out is probably helpful.
Yeah. And everybody has their own time.
Yeah.
Whenever you can't say, hey, you need to talk about this right now or you're a failure or you're not going to get any better or whatever. Because, it's like use a drug addict as an example. I know it's kind of like a harsh example, but you can take them to rehab 1,000,000 times. If they don't want to stop using, they're not going to. It doesn't matter what you do. There has to be that want.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then to go back to what you were talking about earlier about, getting everybody improving and all of that stuff. A thing I wanted to add, and I've said it a ton, but is setting your people up for success and not failure.
Yeah.
Of recognizing, yes, Chris is great at EMS. So, hey, have him show us some stuff about EMS, and then, then we'll show him some stuff about fire, and, we'll improve on his fire side. But he's an asset on the EMS side. So, yeah, that just...
Absolutely. No, well, we've talked about that plenty. Somebody's bedside manner's amazing, and then everybody else knocks them because they can't pull a hose as good as you. It's like, you suck at bedside manner, and you're going to talk about this person? We're always quick to point the finger, and maybe that's my leadership that I've taken and that we just talked about maybe before this started, that I've always seen both sides of people. And I think if you look at that, because I don't know too many people that are just like, I'm great at this, and then, or whatever. They're not okay with calling them, or they're not okay with somebody else calling them out, but then they can call everybody else out.
Yeah.
It's like, let's not just point fingers here. You have some of your own stuff.
Yeah.
And, there's some people that will just tell you, well, you suck at this too. I'm like, no, man, you don't know. That they just need some help, like you said.
Yeah.
That's usually what it comes down to, as we all know. Yeah. And training can be in a different way. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you got to train and you have to be able to do this. It could be a mental training that you know about, that's the reason we've all went through that stuff where people are on struggle and you knew they weren't on struggle before. What happened? Yeah. Something changed.
They got the yips.
Yeah. So there's a ton to it if we're just talking leadership, but it can't, there's no one simple way for one person to be like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a great leader. Yeah. No, you're not.
No.
You have to experience, you have to go through it. You have to go through plenty of things. Yeah. And then you have to learn from other people.
Yeah. Well, and you have to realize that you're not going to be able to motivate or lead everyone exactly the same way. So what Chris responds to, you might not, or what you respond to, he might not. And as somebody who's responsible for you, I have to recognize that and say, okay, so Chris, I need to talk to this way and approach this way, and that's how I'm going to get the best response out of him.
Yeah.
And then John, I have to approach him this way, and that's how I'm going to get the best response out of him.
Yeah.
So, and that's just, it takes time to figure that stuff out, and it takes knowing the people that you're responsible for.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, you have to be willing to put yourself out there so that they're going to trust you and they're going to understand like you're a human being and be like, hey man, I make mistakes too. Let's do it together.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a huge thing, and especially, in our industry, that we're just, we're all afraid to make mistakes because somebody's going to say, you are not good enough,
Yep. Yeah. Well, I think that starts day one of OJT whenever you mess up at something and you just get hammered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And and like you said, that works for some people or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm a person that if you hammer me, I probably get better after I get pissed off. But generally, like you said, you gotta want to be better at it. Yeah. I've always wanted to be good at a lot of things, so I'm like, I'm gonna get better. But then I've spread myself out so far that I want to be good at this and this and this and this and this. And it's like, so I'm just okay at a lot of stuff rather than just really good at one thing. But
well, Renaissance man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, going back to our days. at our spot.
Yeah.
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades.
That's it. That's
Yep.
it. But
When we
master
all-
of none.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I got.
We're sort of okay at a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say I want to be a great father, great husband, great coach. Great chief. But there's only so many go around.
Well, I mean, as long as you have the goals and you're working towards them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is in that people see you trying,
Yeah.
and being honest about the effort,
Yeah, you got to have some structure. Get in there every day and do the same thing. And be like, all right, I'm going to do this, and have some character and some morals that people are like, no, you can't do. He's not going to allow that. Structure is a huge thing, especially for new kids now. I mean, I coach that a lot with kids and my kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge for a lot of people when they don't, when they have some direction, it makes it easier.
Well, it goes back to setting the standard.
Yeah.
If okay, hey, these are the standards. This is what I expect. It's easy to follow.
Yeah.
But if you go in and it's just like, whatever, and today this is acceptable, but the next day it's not.
Yeah.
That's whenever people start going, okay, what's going on?
Absolutely.
Just gonna sit over there stone faced.
Yep. Just listening.
Taking it all in.
Just listening.
Taking it all in.
I haven't heard a thing I disagree with yet.
All right. Perfect. We're doing good, I guess.
No, it's been actually really, really good to sit down and really listen to all the leadership stuff, because there's always those people that I've ran across as far as the leadership that I've seen personally is, seeing people outside of the department and they can be the coolest person in the world, but the second that they're on duty, it's like a completely different person, and no one wants to be around that. As far as the attitude is completely changed, and and coming home, just kind of decompressing to my wife about just how the shift went, just because of one attitude. But I know how the person can be outside of the job, and it's kind of just frustrating. But yet you also doesn't have that attitude to be able to talk to them and say, hey, because they take that title, and nothing against, of course it's the title, the chief position,
Yeah.
but it's so hard to try and be under a leader like that. It's complete 180,
Well, so
I
maybe
was
you
gonna say
can.
we all could name people.
Yeah.
On
Oh, and
hand.
I'm sure they're everywhere,
Yeah.
but it's just it's really good to listen to all your angles on that, and it really kind of just helped me kind of put a better picture on it.
So whenever you went from captain to chief,
Yeah.
and because whenever I went from firefighter to captain, that transition it's kind of jarring and it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You don't yes, okay, I'm in charge, I'm the captain, I have to make decisions. But I still want to be one of the guys, and I still want to do the work and this, and no, you go stand over there, we got it, we'll tell you when we need you.
Yeah.
So going from captain to chief, what was that transition like?
Yeah, like you said, that part is frustrating. The first thing, as even going to captain, is that all of a sudden you take it on yourself to think that you're supposed to know it all because you got this title.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just forget that. That doesn't happen. You didn't. Yes, you studied your ass off and you got promoted. Great for you. That's just the start of it. But also enjoy the process of getting to where you want to be, and that's where I am. I just had this conversation in the last shift I was there. I was like, dude, I'm 2 years in at chief now. I don't know everything, and I'm probably still not going to know it in 5 more years, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to get there. But I think that so many people get that and they think that they immediately are like, I know everything. No, you don't.
No.
And so that's the part that hopefully I'm explaining when I get new captains that come through, like, man, we understand. We'll train you, we'll do whatever, ask all the questions. All you really have to do is want to do it. And everybody's willing to help, as we know from the fire department. That if you just, ask questions and want to be better, we'll train you all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, my level now, it's like when there's nobody else like really training me. Like, well, you're just supposed to know.
I was going to say, you're kind of on an island by yourself there,
I'm
buddy.
like, but at the same time, I lean on a safety officer. I lean on my captains. I delegate stuff. I hopefully that I don't ever expect. I've never hopefully not micromanaged. We go to a fire or whatever. You tell me it's out. I'm like, all right, we're pick up. Let's roll. I'm not going in and looking at it. We all know those other people that are going like, hold on, let me make sure. I'm like, no, you said it was good. We're good, right? Same thing. You expect other people to do their job, and they expected me to do mine. But having to just continue to get better, I guess, daily is what you do. But the transition is weird. It's in the hardest part that you got to. That was the second part, was not being able to do anything. Everybody wants to do everything for you. I feel like, no, I can still do this. I want to do it, because the physical part is what I still enjoy about the fire department, and they won't let me touch a mop. I'm like, come on, man, let me swing this axe. Let me do this. They're like, nope. And then it's like one of those, it's like, if I don't pick it up, then I look like, oh, he doesn't want to help or whatever. But I don't think anybody, hopefully that's been around me, that's thought that but they just take it out of my hand. I still try,
Yeah.
Every day after dinner, I pick up the broom, and half the time I lose my broom. And I'm like, I got to find something else to do. I just, but it's like, that's what I want to build, is that we're all a team here. I'm not better than you just because I'm in charge here. Doesn't mean by no means,
Yeah. Well, and
I remember when that happened to me. Chief wouldn't take the trash out when we first came on. So, of course, brand new guy. No. I got tossed.
by the chief.
By the chief, he tossed me.
Oh, shit, maybe that's what I need to start doing. I know I can take some of them young dudes.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, but I'm in my 20s, man.
Yeah.
And he said to me, what'd you learn? Don't fuck with the chief.
it's a good lesson.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it's also part of the culture.
Yeah.
Of the chief doesn't do that.
Yeah.
That's our job.
We take care of the chief.
The chief
will take care of us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's great. I don't want to change that. And then sometimes I've had the conversations about that, even if I want to do something or whatever is allowed or isn't allowed, like if I speak to whoever, I have to respect other chiefs and what they want in the fire service, or anybody else that wants to be promoted to that position. I have to respect the position to be like, no, you have to go through your chain of command. Because I got so cool at thought I was so cool or whatever, not cool in a cool way, but just like, I'm cool with you, come to my office and do whatever. I got to where I was like, hold on, you need to go tell your captain, and he comes to me. Make sure we follow chain of command, because that screws other, and then they're walking to somebody else and they're like, what are you doing in here? So I have to make sure that I respect the position as well, as much as I want to be relatable and, be one of the guys,
That's a hard line.
Yeah.
It's even harder when you're assigned to the chief's house, because you get so comfortable and then walking in and having that conversation. Like, hey, man, is there EVDs open this day? Yeah. And you throw it down. I'll let my captain know.
Yeah.
But I also think it's dependent on, there's a time thing, because you can see it with guys with more time on than the younger guys do that. But I agree, you got to respect the position too. Even when you're in that position, you got to treat that office with respect. And it's definitely hard when you get comfortable around people.
Yeah. Well, like you said, being in the chief's house, probably it blurs those lines even more.
Oh, yeah. And which, like I said, I don't know if it offends other people. It doesn't offend me, but I have to respect, they were asking to clean the office. I was like, I can clean my own office. Like, I got this. But it's the respect. But then, to somebody else, like, no, you need to come here. And it is maybe what you should do,
Yeah.
So those are the hardest things, I think, for me, is you're different, I guess, in a way, but at the same time trying to be on the same level, but you're not. So that part struggles, but it is what it is.
Well, and I think that's something that even as the younger generation needs to realize, because it was even that way. I remember it being that way whenever, I was coming up, and it was some captains wanted you to clean their office, some chiefs wanted you to clean their office, some of them didn't. So, I mean, it's a case-by-case basis as far as that goes. And some of them were cool with you coming in, some of them weren't.
Yeah.
I think that's always been a thing.
Okay.
So
it's good. I mean, like I said,
you didn't start something new, John.
No, I wasn't trying to start nothing new. I was just, like I said, I wasn't trying to,
Yeah, but you got to be careful as a
position.
chief, because you don't want to step on your captain's toes in your district.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And that's a fine line as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a whole lot of landmines around.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why he limps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's all that ass kicking I got to do. Keeping everybody in line around here.
Right.
Don't look at me.
What you got?
Come on. Pipe up.
I'm just listening. I really am.
Joey.
I added my 2 cents earlier.
He's good for one comment.
Yeah. All right.
Well, it was just like when we were
It was
studying
spot
for the
on.
last test, and we had his help, and some of the things he said.
Yeah.
I mean, it made sense, but it was the more when I went back and thought about it later, it wasn't just the material; it was leading into that leadership role. And now, how would you attack this question as a leader, not as a captain, because we weren't, but as the senior firefighter or just a firefighter in general or a driver, and trying to think of it that way, which leads you into that captain realm, or even take the chief's test. How would you answer this as a chief officer? Which now you're taking that next step, so you're expanding on your perspective. So instead of seeing through the pinhole when we first come on to where we're at, as senior guys here, and the chief officer's here, and he's trying to get you here.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the things that I liked the most when we sat down and talked about it, was breaking it down and then trying to get to see the big picture we could before we gave an answer.
Yeah. I mean,
Does that make sense?
that's the process you have to go through. Like you said, it's not one word answers, and that's where people in general mess up on those testing, that they're like, well, they just want to hear this. Like, you've always put some of your personal in it, I think, and hopefully they can see some of that come through. I know he's probably a pretty good dude. This is probably how you handle it, Some of that could be tricked, I guess, or whatever, if we're getting at that. But I think for the most part, you have to learn and grow as yourself, not only in the books and what you've learned, but personally how you really would handle it and bring that together.
Yeah.
That's what I thought the test was really good for.
And then start applying what you've been reading now to prepare you for if you do well on that test and get promoted, you've already started creating that habit and that mentality. That way you're already 5 steps ahead in your leadership role, and you just keep growing it and growing it.
Well, and I think that's the beginning. If you use it as an opportunity to be that way, that's the beginning of being able to be genuine, or really portray that or put that out. Whenever you're doing a test like that, is because the more genuine you are answering it, probably the better score you're going to get.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he would probably actually handle it this way.
Yeah.
And then that's a part of leadership, is being genuine with the people that you're leading, because that goes back to trust, and we've talked about how important trust is in this profession.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
if you don't trust somebody,
Yeah,
you ain't going to follow them anywhere.
Is that not number one in leadership?
Yeah.
If they don't trust you, I mean, how far are they going to get away from you? Or they're and be like, hey, he can go in there by himself. Like, they don't give it, this dude's probably going to go in the basement and the fire's in the attic or something, or whatever, for a different reason, or just going somewhere that he shouldn't be or do something wrong. You don't trust him. I mean, and so that goes a long way, and that starts way before the actual fire.
Yeah.
That starts at the fire station, like you said, being real and actually being open to who you truly are. You have to be vulnerable to build somebody else's trust, as we all know. I mean, but these are things that maybe we didn't know 10 years ago, or never thought about. Maybe you knew them, and that's where we continue to grow. And you guys are, I know we're on the same path, as that personal growth is huge inside of you. And that's easy, hopefully not easy, but it's something that you enjoy, and it's a passion that you're trying to share with others, because you know where you've came from and where you are now, and you're like, this is a huge deal to me, and I'm excited about it, and if I could change you in that way or get you to see this, I've done my part. And that's all it could be. It doesn't have to be I changed the whole department or I changed my whole crew, but if I got through to one other guy, I'm doing something right.
It's changing who you are. So I used to be a big shorts guy. Wore shorts year round. I'd put my bunkers on whenever we left the station, no matter what. And I changed that. I'm now a pants guy because I got burned. I got underneath. It went up my pant leg and burned right above my boot.
Yeah.
And if I would have had my pants on instead of shorts, I wouldn't have got burned. So now I see why these older guys always wore pants.
Yeah.
They didn't wear shorts. So now I'm a pants guy. I'm not opposed to you wearing shorts, but I'm going to.
That's your example of personal growth?
Well,
really?
It's something small. It's very small,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes a big impact.
Yeah.
Because you've shown where you were and what you've learned and experienced, and then you pass it on to a young person. Like, hey, I get you want to wear shorts. They're comfortable. We're pretty chill. We're pretty relaxed. But this is why you shouldn't wear shorts, especially on a fire, or it just gives you that extra layer. Even though it's a small layer, it's still an extra layer. Because that's the only spot I got burned was right between my boot leg and where my shorts ended. Was where I got burned.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
the whole uniform shorts thing. See guys wearing that, and I'm like, what you gonna do when you got to kneel down on some gross floor and do CPR?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
You're not going back out to put your bunker pants on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always a pants guy. I don't know. But that was the way I started. My first captain, he wore pants, so I wore pants.
Yeah.
And like you said, you just followed what your captain did. So I, till this day, still wear pants. You know,
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. And it looks better. I mean, I think, in general to the public, and as much as we want to say, oh, we're great at this, how you look on the outside, as we know, that's your first impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As they see you walking up to the house,
Yeah.
that's what they're saying. So, but yeah.
Still a
and
t-shirt guy, though. I don't like the collar
Oh, I
shirts.
love a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Fine.
He's got personal monogram
Yeah.
T-shirts.
Well, look at him.
I know.
I'm still in awe. That hasn't changed over the years.
Just the perfect amount of scrub.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. So, but yeah, I mean, and that's the whole point of this podcast, and we've said it, is, to be able to help just one person, to
Yeah.
change the trajectory of, hey, I went down a bad path, and I know the steps that I took to get down that path.
Yeah.
And if I can keep somebody from going down that path, that's just one person.
Yeah.
That's great. So, yeah, any experience that I can share, or, get people to come on, talk about leadership and talk about, the department, anything, that's what we're doing. So, because when you start down a bad path, and it's not limited to addiction or whatever, it could just be complacency.
Yeah.
Going in the morning and, well, the other crew checked the rig out, so I'm good. Once you start down that path, it's real easy to just continue on that trajectory until it bites you in the ass pretty hard.
Yeah.
You get that fire and, oh, yeah, maybe they checked it out, but then they forgot to reconnect a coupling or whatever, and you've got no air in your air pack because it all bled out overnight.
Yeah. It's
So-
be something small.
Yeah, it's something as simple and as small as that.
Oh, yeah. And then I think a huge thing is people need to understand that they got to learn to lead themselves before they can lead others. People forget that, and they, like I said, we talk about leadership, and you have to start somewhere, and then you have to, internalize that and see, all right, what am I not doing well? What am I not good at? Before you can go tell somebody else what they're not good at. Figure that out, and then come talk to me or, whoever. But like I said, I will tell you what I straight up struggle with, or I'm not as good as I want to be at this, but I'm vulnerable enough to be like, yep, this is me. I'm true at that, but I'm also good at this or good at that. But like I said, if you can't lead yourself at home, your own personal life, what you do, what you want to do, write down your goals, and you can't stick to them, can you lead anybody else? I mean, that's
Not
hard.
very effectively.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can't do it yourself, then nobody else can follow you. I mean, I think that's a big thing for leaders. They continue to grow personally, and that's how people continue to follow them. I don't think any leader's just like, as we all know, that the dictators of it that are just like, oh, I'm in charge, I'm doing this. Nobody follows them.
Yep.
They're in charge, and they respect the rank, but they don't respect them.
Yep.
And that's not what I want to be. I want to be somebody that, like inside and outside of the job, he's the same dude, and that's why we love him, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or that's why we hate him.
Yeah, and that's,
Whatever.
yeah, and that's exactly what where I was kind of going, because as far as a couple of the chiefs that I have at my department is, yeah, I've got the position, I've got the power. Respect, of course, everyone's going to respect the position because it's the position, but
Yeah.
but they just instantly, once they put that white shirt on, it's like, I know everything. No one else. I do nothing wrong, and that's where it's just really hard to really want to follow somebody like that when nobody's perfect. Just like you said earlier, Chris may be really good at EMS and then he's struggling here, or I've got I can't pull a line off quite right. There's always everyone has those struggles, but being able to be you're accepting of it and you're working on it. That's one thing, but it's just really hard to be behind somebody that just thinks he knows everything and everything you do is wrong kind of situation.
Yeah, it's really hard to follow somebody like that. And what eventually happens is people stop. It doesn't matter what idea that person's going to put out there. It's because of the precedents they've set in the past of I'm always right.
Oh, and that's the thing. It's just like, when you're, we always jack around, and regardless of rank, you're always kind of just playing around at the station kind of situation. But like, we always catch a call. It's business, and that's the situation where you catch a call. It's all business, very professional. Hey, chief, what do you need me to do? Whatever. And then, but if you have a leader like that we discussed, you go back to the station. You want nothing to do with that guy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, hopefully he goes back to his office because we don't need to mess with. Like, we don't want to see him.
Yeah.
And that's just it. Just makes it hard at the station to be around that,
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I think it eventually catches up to them, and it doesn't matter. Like you said, it doesn't matter if it was a rank or a firefighter or a captain or whatever. We all have seen just those people in general. It catches up to them, whether that's their home life or whatever else. They just never quite get it, and maybe that's their own personal growth that they just stopped doing, and so they could never look at themselves and be like, I'm just horrible. I need to get better. And some people, I don't know. Maybe, at some point in our life, something changed in us that we wanted to be better or we wanted to do this. Maybe that didn't happen. And a lot of times that could be like a divorce at home that they happen. And he's a completely different person now. Like, cause you never looked at yourself. You thought it was always somebody else. Mm-hmm. And eventually your wife said, no, I don't want to be with you anymore. And then you had to look internally and be like, I really screwed up. And that takes time. And then maybe at that time we've seen people that completely change and become, the person they wanted to be. They just didn't know how. Yeah. And so some of that, it's hard and it sucks because us in this room, as we've seen that, or somebody that you're talking about, maybe they just didn't know, That sucks too. That would be horrible to be
just be completely oblivious.
No, everybody loves me. I'm a great chief. They're amazing. That might be me. They'll be like, look at this guy. He thought he was good. He's horrible. Nobody likes that guy.
That's called being delusional.
Yeah,
so.
But I think there's some of that. But I think, and then maybe that's some of that. They think they're in that position. They have to know everything, and that's a misconception that people have. Like I said, in every position and every any job there is, people need to stop thinking that way. Yeah. You don't get promoted and then all of a sudden you know everything. That didn't happen.
It's not like the Matrix where they plug you in.
Yeah. And it would be amazing. Yeah. I wish that I could just be like, yeah, I know that. But no, that's why I say you just got to enjoy the process.
I think that's some of the best leaders that you have out there, the ones that can admit their faults.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it makes it relatable, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then you're like, okay, he told me he's not very good at this.
Or
so when I say, Chief, I need help with this, or Captain, I need help with this, makes it way easier.
Yeah. Or they ask you if you're good at something. Hey, you show me how to do that?
Oh, yeah.
You're like, what? Yeah, absolutely.
This dude's human.
He really wants to learn, or she, and, now you're trading off, and you're going to end up respecting that person even more as your leader.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to honesty and then also setting your ego aside.
Yeah.
The best leaders, at least the ones that I've seen, don't have much of an ego. In the traditional sense of, I know everything. I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah. It's being able to get out of your own way and, like you said, realizing you don't know everything and being willing to learn. Mm-hmm. And, we say it all the time. I've heard it said all the time. You can learn something from anybody on the fire ground. The 1-year guy might have something to teach the 20-year guy. Because something they learn new. So, we say it all the time. We just don't take our own advice.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, that's probably 2 of my things that we talked about or whatever, and I put in my bio was to learn something new every day, and everybody says that, but it doesn't have to be like, I read this book and I learned this. It could be something new about yourself. It's some, emotionally, physically, whatever it be, psychologically, things that we can continue to grow on. And those are things that you can learn every day. It's easy to tell your kids, like, what'd you learn today? Like, I didn't learn anything. Well, you could have learned something, and it doesn't have to do anything with school. Tell me something.
And that goes back to, are you familiar with the 24-hour clone principle? Have you heard that?
Where you get better every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like at midnight every night they create a clone of you. And then at midnight the next night you have to fight that clone to the death.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a physical battle. It could be mental or whatever. So you got to learn enough during the day to make sure that you win that fight.
Yeah.
So, and that's a simplistic explanation of it, but
those are personal goals that you've probably set in your life, and I'm going to get better at this. And we're all going to have setbacks.
Yeah.
It might be weeks at a time, But the point that we continue to get better is because we want to be better.
Yeah.
And you stop sitting here and just be like, well, I'm good right here. I might be good with my life and where I'm at, in my job, but I'm not good with where I want to be in the future. I want to be, better at this or better at that or, whatever that might be. But you have to set personal goals, and they have always talked about write down your goals and then make a plan and get there.
Yeah.
Nobody just gets there and be like, oh, I'm going to do that. But you have no plan? How are you going to get there?
Was Matthew McConaughey, I think, said when he was asked who his hero was, me in 10 years. I think that was him.
Yeah, it was him.
And it took me a couple times listening to it
Yeah.
to really fully understand what he was saying. I was like, makes sense.
Absolutely.
Trying to be better.
I mean, yeah, you think about it. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. So you look at that as learning and growth and continuing on learning stuff. A body at rest stays at rest. That's just being stagnant. So if you stop, it takes a whole lot more effort to start moving again. And there's no outside force is going to move you. It's got to be self-motivated.
Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of stuff obviously you guys read probably what I read and a lot of the stuff and the personal growth stuff that you just want to be better. And maybe it has to do with some of where we came from. I don't know why, or maybe we're just at that age, but I've learned a lot about, they talk about like when you're in your 20s, you're trying to make it or whatever. When you're in your 30s, you're trying to keep up. Like, what do the neighbors have? I want to get that. I want to get this. When you're in the 40s, it's kind of the same thing. Like, oh, I've kind of made it. We're doing good. Like, can I get this promotion? Can I do this? And then in your 50s, it's like, I just want to give back. And that's like a personal growth chart that most people are on. And hopefully maybe they were there a little bit sooner than, that. And that's where I feel like my life is transitioning now. It's like once you've done everything that not done everything, but you've made it financially. And, I'm married. I have 2 boys. I've done this. I've done that. This is where I want to be. Now I just want to give back. And how can I help? And that's exactly what you guys are doing is how can we give back to somebody else? And that's a huge thing because you can't tell the 20-year-old, they're never going to comprehend what you understand because of what you've been through. And so I think going forward, that's hopefully what their goal is. I talked about my son this morning about, when we talk about, when we retire, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to get a house in Florida and I'm going to go to the, happy hour every day. How much fun? That's fun for like 2 months, if that, maybe 2 weeks. And it's like, no, you have to have goals.
Yeah.
Goals don't stop because let's stop making retirement. That's the goal and that's it. That's not
There's still
my end goal. Yeah. And that's, they talked about firemen, how we die within like 5 years of it. And it's just like, this is crazy because they don't have goals after this. The end game was I'm going to retire and then I'm going to go do this and then I'm going to do nothing.
It was the happy hour every day is what gets us.
Yeah. That's like,
Yeah.
It sounds fun for a little bit, but in the morning I got up and went on the beach and had my, hour walk, and then I went and read a little bit, and I sat around and I did this, and then I'd probably get a job, not for the money, just to be around other people and enjoy people. People are on vacation, I'll go serve them some food. How happy are they? Like, hey, where are you guys from? They're on vacation having a blast. As long as they have food on the table and drinks in their hand, they're happy as can be, and you just get to have a conversation. It's probably what I'd be doing, but at least I have a goal. Like, no, I want to talk to some new people today. That's my goal for the day.
I want to be the host.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I'm not a very good server.
It's because of that ass.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really big topic. And I know some people that have retired recently or are going to retire here shortly. And that's a common question that I ask is, what's your plans afterwards?
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, no, come on, dude. You have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Because that's whenever things really start, especially in a profession like this or law enforcement or even guys getting out of the military. Like, you have to have something that you're going to move on to.
Yeah.
Because if it's just you have no plan, no nothing, it's going to come off the wheels pretty quick. And
Absolutely.
you know,
We're usually pretty young when we get to retire. I mean, most of us came on at a young age. I was 22. You were a little bit older. I think you were around my age, weren't you?
23.
23, yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's still, at 25, we're still in our 40s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're not far away as it is.
No.
And if you haven't dealt with all of the trauma and everything that we see on a day-to-day basis, believe me, whenever you're retired, it doesn't just all go away. It's still sitting there. It's still waiting, and eventually it's going to come out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I got up early.
Yeah. you got to have a plan.
Absolutely.
So, whether it's
Buy you a boat and be a charter. How amazing would that be every day? You're on the water every day and you're just driving people around. They're happy to be catching fish. But have a plan.
yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. But
I
yeah, people,
don't know.
you don't want to
maybe.
be in the ocean every day. You don't want to be.
No,
No?
maybe not.
I wouldn't call mine the minnow, though. That's got bad luck to it.
You do look kind of like the skipper.
All right, Gilligan. Those two, I'd rather be the skipper.
Oh, I am not being your deckhand, that's for sure.
Oh, that's what I was going to say about retirement. We can retire early, and we always like, oh, I'm retiring right at this age. And as you get older, you don't know. You know, we always worried when you were young, you're like, why has that guy been on for 40 years?
Yeah.
But as you get older, you start to realize, like, oh, okay, it's not so bad. I kind of do enjoy my job. I get to be around. My wife doesn't tell me what to do every day if I come here, you know. And shit. Now I'm in charge. So it's like, hey, that's not terrible.
Problem is they still do because these phones get text messages.
Oh, yeah. So that's understandable too. So so I started to understand, like, before I had a hard time understanding why anybody stayed longer than whatever. Like, no, what are you doing? It's the rest of your life. But now I can, like, no, you're around people, and that's a huge deal to living a long life, is having close connections, you know. It's not the amount of money you had in your pocket. It's those close connections. I think there's actually studies on that, the longevity of how long you've lived off of. That's how people, you know, because of how they've been around, you know. So,
Close connections, staying active.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean, if you just sit on your couch and watch TV all day, you ain't going to make it too long.
Yeah.
Well, shit. But the documentaries, does that count?
Well, it might keep you from getting Alzheimer's.
Perfect.
So you'll just be aware of.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put a hammock out in the yard, and I'll go back and forth every documentary. How's that? That's pretty active.
Watch one on your tablet and then one on the big screen.
Yeah.
So,
I'm pretty sure I can angle the TV to where I can still see it through the window.
why are you always trying to work out an angle to do less? It takes you more effort to do less work. Just go work out.
There's an art to that sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't encourage him, Joey.
Sorry.
That's a lot of dead air.
It is a lot of I was waiting. So, all right. Well, I don't know. We've been going at it for 57 minutes.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Killed it.
You want to stay under an hour.
No.
Oh, was that a goal?
I said I couldn't talk for 20 minutes. I said, unless we're having a beer, then I'd probably talk forever. But I was like, damn, that dude never shut up.
Hey, you know, as long as you want to talk, we'll stay.
No. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, we can talk whenever. But, yeah, no, this is good. I think, like I said, I think there's a lot to it. It's hard to put it in, as you know, in one episode. You're going to have, like, you've had, 70 episodes or something, you know. It's all going
Isn't
forward.
this one 69?
69. You're episode 69.
That's awesome.
We had you penciled in a long time ago for this one.
Yep.
Thank you.
Glad the schedule's lined up.
Yeah.
If I move this person here, then yeah. So, yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing, like the whole thing with this, like, you know, we talked about how last night we did one and we cut it off at like a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
And
Somebody got scared of a storm.
Yeah, we could have kept going for a lot longer.
Yeah.
But and the reason, you know, we keep it, this is the kitchen table.
Yeah.
At the fire station. And you know the conversations that we have there. I mean, we solve the world's problems. We've solved banking, all the politics. Everything has been solved around the kitchen table at a fire station. So, and that's kind of the way that we want this to be, is be able to, we're going to may start over here talking about whatever it is and end up way over here.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just, we let the
Last one
conversation.
Last one was a lot of left turns.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was, I felt like I was in NASCAR because it was just left
Yeah.
turn, left turn, left turn, left turn.
Pit stop.
Yeah.
So there's that right every once in a while.
You're trying to get back on track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to just stay back on track and try to stay with the leadership stuff and try to keep us going in that direction. But there's just so much to it. We could talk for hours about it, and everybody's direction and how they get there is completely different.
Yeah.
I think there are some things, like we mentioned, that you have to get there. But,
Yeah.
a lot of that,
Did you read
Well-
the last book we read, that Step Up and Lead? Did you
Yeah.
read that one too?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That was a really good one. That
I
first
would-
in, last out was really good though too.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever read that one?
I don't know if we had that. I don't think I
I think I read that I was just on my own.
Okay.
I think my dad bought it for me,
Yeah.
and it was he's retired. I can't remember his name, but he's a deputy chief, I think, in New York when he retired.
Gotcha.
And it always started with a story, each chapter, and the stories were really good.
Yeah.
And then of course that led into his lesson. But I thought it was just as good as Step Up and Lead, but Step Up and Lead was much better. Nothing against that guy from New York, but
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked that book. It had, and then a lot of it, though, was confirmation bias for me, maybe, because I already had a lot of those thoughts and I was just agreeing with
Yeah.
most of what was in the book. So he was saying what I wanted to hear. So
Yeah.
I do want to ask you one question, though, before we get out of here and get your opinion on it. And it's something that I've heard Jocko talk about quite a bit, about leadership and how some people, there's a debate on whether leadership is an innate quality. You either have it or you don't, or it can be learned.
I think both. I think maybe I don't know. No, I think it's probably learned. I don't know if you can just be born with this leadership quality. I think you have to there's situations you have to probably go through. There can be an upbringing of how you became to this point. And that's where I think I'm at. I didn't start here. I know where I came from and how I built and how I did this and I did that. And so my direction went to that way. And then the positions I got placed in young or whatever and always wanted to be that. I think you can definitely mentor somebody else into leading, but we can't say that leading is you're here and in 10 years you're a fire chief. That we can't say that. We can't say that's where we're going with it. We have to say you're here and in 10 years from now, you're the person you wanted to be. So that's completely how you can, it can be learned. I don't know if you can be born with it. I think, like I said, you look at, other countries and their sports. How do they get so great? Because that's their only way out. They become amazing at that because this is what they have to do to get out. And so when you talk about lead or whatever, I think sometimes you have to go through the struggles to get there. I don't think that the great leaders were always on this great path and they just became this great leader. I think we had to struggle internally what we had and, in different ways to become this and then find a way out, right? No, I'm struggling here. How do I get to there? And then and then people want to follow, but I think it hopefully can be taught. I mean, that's what I do all the time in coaching, it's but you have to have that character and you have to have somebody that's going to teach you those things. But I think if you hung out with Jocko for, a year straight, you'd be like, I'm a pretty good leader, or whatever. So that's why I think for sure it can be taught. I don't think, I just, yes, if we talked about sports, there's genetics, but we all know about the guy that worked really hard and has zero genetics. So was he born with it? No, he just worked his ass off.
Yeah.
So I think that can happen both ways. But I think even if they say you're born with it, your mom, your dad, somebody around you was a great mentor, and that's how you learned. It wasn't you were a baby and now you're this amazing leader.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
You got to learn how to follow before you lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got to learn it from somewhere, and you got to learn both the right and the wrong way. Because if you don't know the wrong way, you can't lead the right way. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't think you're born with it. Kind of with John, I think you have that ability, but it's got to be honed. Just like a sculptor, they see a block of wood and they're like, "Oh, this is what I see," and then you get some Michelangelo, Raphael made. Me, it's a block of wood. It's just it's something in you that you learn how to create.
So you cultivate your
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah, like you have the foundation of it, kind of situation. I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I was just curious. Wanted your take on it.
Yeah.
So-
What do you think? You think it's the other way? Or you think I don't?
I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I think, there is that, you kind of need that intangible quality. Like some people just have it. They're just a natural leader.
Yeah.
But then again, you still have to put the work in
Yeah.
to learn to be a good leader. Because, to go back to the sports analogy, we've all seen those guys that have just amazing natural talent and they end up just being the worst pro player ever because they don't put the work in.
Yeah.
They have all the tools. So
But you gotta be taught that work ethic too, though.
yeah. So, I kind of like I kind of go back and forth on it of does everybody have the tools?
Yeah.
Or
I
so
think
I don't
everybody has
know.
a space for the tools in their toolbox, but it's if they want to put that tool in there.
Right. Okay. So that's
you-
good.
Yeah.
I like that.
And you have to be, if it's personally or you're pushed into it, I think if you gave, like I said, Jim Rohn's kids or something, they're probably going to be great leaders, but they've been taught their whole life this is how you do things, and that they become that way. Somebody in your life changed your direction of where you want to be, if it was you personally or whatever, but somebody showed you a little bit of this is how you want to be. And maybe, I don't, like I said, but to say that you're just going to wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm a great leader, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You have to, like anything, like the sports, to get great, you have to put in the work,
Yeah.
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours. There you go.
So I'm not quite there yet, so I'll just keep working. So I'll have to work for 40 years, like I said. So
Yeah.
I'm not retiring because I got to get 10,000 hours.
All right. Well, Joey, final thoughts?
No, not really. It was a lot of great information, and I'm actually going to probably get both those books that you guys mentioned and read those. But yeah, no, I really don't have anything to tag on just because I'm still young in my career, and but it was really good to listen about different sides of the leadership role, and honestly, it just kind of gave me like just that foresight of what I want to do in the future of my career and what kind of leader I want to be. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was really good.
Good deal.
Perfect.
So
Start
you
it now, like I said. You
Yeah.
don't have to get promoted to be a leader.
Yeah, you can be a leader in that back seat, and a lot of times that's one of your best leaders you're gonna have.
Oh, yeah. We've all seen plenty of them,
Yeah.
Well, and it could be the best or the worst.
Well, it depends on which direction you go with it.
Yeah.
That's why I say you got to learn the bad leadership and the good leadership.
Yeah.
That way you know the difference and where not to step, or which wire not to cut.
Never the red wire. Final thoughts.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I wish, obviously wish there was an easy direction to be like, yep, you do this and you do this and you're going to be there. But that's not ever happening. And so, not that I can foresee, I think that we've listened to a lot of the same people. You listen to anything they had to go through certain things to get to where they are today. That's what makes it is. And sometimes you have those people that you don't look up to or that are in charge of you, and they might derail you from what you actually want to be. Don't let that happen. Take it your personal goal to be like, this is where I want to be. And hopefully it's not, it's for your personal reasons. So.
Yep. And don't be afraid to put the work in.
Yeah, you got to put the work in.
Oh, you got to enjoy it though too. Like
Yep.
I said, that's the best part. And maybe that's it, is like the older we get, I feel like you've missed out on stuff that I wish I would have enjoyed a little more.
Yeah.
Now, like, will you guys let me swing the axe? Will you let me do this? They won't, but I'm like, I'm going to do that. So that part, like I said,
Yeah.
enjoy the process.
I'll tell you what, next time, if I'm ever your DSO again, I'll let you swing
Thank
the
you.
axe.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You should go do a training evolution where you switch seats for the day.
And then somebody's going to talk shit on you. But you let.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't be the first
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So,
It is what it is.
yeah. So, yeah, no.
You want to give you the Moran thing?
Oh, yeah.
So Moran wrapped it up.
Yeah. He was going crazy behind the camera last night. It was kind of funny. I saw him doing it, and I purposely just turned my head and ignored him.
I could see him out of the corner of my eye. I was like, I didn't see nothing.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. John, thank you for being here. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. If you are struggling, reach out. There are resources out there. If you know somebody that is struggling, let them know that you care. And just remember, you're not alone if you're going through something. Everybody goes through stuff. It's totally normal. It happens. But don't trick yourself into thinking that you're the only one. So reach out for the help. Believe me, it's out there. Thanks for stopping by.